All right, we'll take questions for Christian and Trey. Raise your hand, and maybe you can start us.
Yeah, Christian, starting off. So this summer, when I was writing stuff, I asked multiple coaches who's going to surprise me. They all said you this year. Kind of had your breakout game today. How was it like going from your redshirt year to this and game action to having such a good game?
I mean, it just felt good to be out there with my teammates. The coaches trusted me like the whole year, the whole redshirt year. They trusted me. They took a chance on me and stuff like that. So I'm just happy to have gone to play out and do what I do. That's good.
Trey, you stepped up offensively tonight. I think you broke your scoring record from last season. What does it mean to step up this season and do a bigger role for the team?
It means a lot. Having my teammates just trust me, day in and day out when the ball's not going in, when the ball is going in. My highs and lows, just being able to have a good support system, not only my teammates, but my coaches, just always being around me, always encouraging me, just telling me to keep, shooting, and, yeah, it means a lot.
It's like both of you seem pretty big difference between the first half and the second half. What do you think changed? Or what was said at halftime?
I think the biggest difference was, just our approach to things. The second half, obviously, we prepare for stuff like this, and I would say on our scout, them offensive rebounding was something that was really big, and they grabbed a few in the first half. So, just coming back in at halftime, regrouping, kind of pounding those main focal points that we had in our scout, I think that helped a lot.
How does it feel to see the team come together so effectively with 6 of 10 players supporting 10 more points? This is rather
Like I said, it just means the world to all of us. We've been in here since I think we got back June, ended school in May. So, we've been around each other. So just being able to see different guys succeed, being able to see different guys happy, it just means a lot to all of us because, at the end of the day, we are a basketball team, but this is a family to us. This is a brotherhood. We've been building relationships, a few of us, for 2 years now, so it means a lot.
Okay. Christian, you kind of split time with Jacoy in that point guard role. You guarded Farrakhan a lot. You held him, and Jacoy did as well to a pretty quiet night. What was your game plan for him to begin with, and how do you think that worked out?
Me and Jacoy, we talked about it before the game. We're gonna make him shoot tough shots, and the coaches told us that too. And we just trusted the game plan, trusted the defensive scout, then ended up working in our honor.
Both have been here, bringing in a few transfers going into the season. What have they brought to the team? How have they meshed with you guys?
I would just say we brought in older guys. Obviously, if you guys were in tune last year, we had a really young team, about 6 or 7 freshmen. So just being able to bring in vets, people that can kind of not necessarily take us under their wing, but, just give us lessons. A lot of the people that we have been in college for a while, have experienced more than us. So it's a great deal bringing in some more experience, bringing more voices, and also people who understand it. So they'll understand your rough games, they'll understand your good games, just because they've been through it, and they just give you more. They give you more advice and more chance to grow.
You guys have some big shoes to fill with losing some players, namely James Bishop, Garrett Johnson's out for the season, I believe. Max Edwards transferred. How did you approach that coming into this season?
Like all of us, we all had to talk, because we knew we were losing him, so we all had to talk, and we just all wanted to stay together, and we all knew we had to have big shoes to fill at the end of the day. So yeah.
Going off of that point, Babatunde also graduated Akingbola last year. How has Castro's versatility on both ends of the court kind of helped the team in the paint on both sides?
Yeah, first I want to give a big shout out to Baba. He just signed a G League deal, so it's nice to see him, continuing to do big things. But yeah, Raphael, he's been a great addition for us. Very versatile big man who, has experience, like I said, but his athletic ability on both sides, be able to not necessarily block but change shots, and then on the other end, just being able to be that lob threat. He's been also really good on the rebounding glass for us, which is something that we've been. Something that we've been really focusing on. So, yeah, Raphael's been great for us, and he will continue to do big things for us.
One more.
Indeed.
So lastly, I just want to talk about the defense. I saw that second half you stopped like the Hamptons from like 10 to 27 shooting. How did you what was the plan?
What was the plan?
Just listening to our coaches. Like I said, we prepare a great deal for these games. Being able to stick to the shout. We had a lot of talented players, so just being able to, do our hardest to make them shoot tough shots. And then, capitalizing after that, rebounding. Honestly, just sticking to the game plan. We have genius coaches, so they always know what to do.
Yes, sir.
That's what they tell everybody else.
Driving us with the stats.
I'm a lone man, lone wolf tonight, so I'll get it to you when I can. All right, we'll start with the opening statement for Coach, and then we'll go to questions.
Good performance from us. I thought our second halves have obviously been better than our first, but these early games are very, very hard to. We didn't get their scrimmages. They played one game against I think a Division II team that they won by 50 points. It was not close. After maybe 10 minutes, they did a lot of different things defensively in the game, so the ability to prepare offensively for what might be coming coverage-wise was just guessing. New coach too, first-year coach, so you're just sort of guessing to see like, okay. And so, probably somewhere in the, 10 minutes in or whatever, you start giving them some advice on, not 10 minutes in, but you get enough possessions in the half court, you start seeing some patterns and start giving some advice. And then I thought, we just missed a couple of chippies at the rim where we were up maybe 8 or 10 or whatever it was at half, that you're probably more likely if you just make those shots to be up 15 or something like that. But what's been good about the two games is two good halves defensively in both games. So 4 good defensive halves. We saw, a guy like Farrakhan, who's a high major transfer and capable of getting a lot of baskets. And so, thought we did a good job on him. So overall, very happy with the group and, got a lot more work to do like everybody else, but it's good. Better to be 2-0 than 0-2.
So first halves, I know it's only been 2 games, but
No.
the first halves have seemingly been a struggle. I mean, what if you had to diagnose a problem, why do you think that's been the case?
Yeah, shot making is part of it, right? Like just simply not making enough shots. As I've told you guys, I think we're a work in progress as a shooting team. It's just the reality. You take Garrett Johnson off your team, who's maybe the best shooter in the country, best shooter in the league, whatever you want to call it, one of them, and you take him off team, and then, puts a lot of onus on a guy like Gerald, who has not shot the ball well in 2 games, but he shot 38% on 200 attempts last year. So, have a lot of faith there. And then, not a lot of big volume 3-point shooters on the roster outside of those 2 guys, and then you lose Gerald. So that's a work in progress. Conversely, we know that we have enough guys that can make one that I think, we'll wind up being a pretty good 3-point shooting team, just maybe not like a great one. But what we can probably be great at is offensive rebound. We have a number of guys on the team that are really good going to the glass. So, but yeah, I would kind of attribute it to that, maybe a little bit of the jitters in the first game. But again, I think it's a little bit more stylistically, as I said, and then a little bit just like it's hard for us to tell you exactly what a new head coach is going to do defensively with a team that we've seen one game that they won by 50 and they played 50 defenses in the game. If I tell you they played 15 defenses in the game, they played 15, different coverages in the game. So it's like putting a name in the hat and picking it out, So.
Coach, theme in the past 2 games has been a lot of 3-point attempts and
Yeah.
getting into the paint and finishing in the paint.
Yeah.
Kind of a lack of mid-range shots. Is that something you've been emphasizing for the team?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not, I don't think I'm the first person in the history of this current game to be thinking about that. But we always do like what we call a shot spectrum symposium before the season and really try to help them understand it, and understand the thought process there. Now, I think I may have said this the other day, but my last year at Miami had 3 great guards that could make some mid-range shots. My first 2 years here with James and that what Brendan became one of the best mid-range shooters in the country. So as a coach, you got to give them some license against certain coverages, like, and also late clocks and some different things that you might allow is not the right word, but understand that sometimes is a very good shot for that particular player, that particular team. But we're not probably in that category right now with anybody, and so we are, yeah, we're trying to take really highly efficient shots, and that's the game.
You just talked about rebounding. Darren had 11, which
Yeah.
is a great game from him. But also, Trey Moss coming in with
Yeah, he's a good rebounder.
5
Yeah.
five rebounds.
Yeah. Athletic player,
especially,
good rebounder.
As a smaller guard, what you liked about his.
Yeah,
effort.
he's a big effort guy. He's a really good athlete. He's not quite as big maybe as you'd want on the wing at times, but he plays big. He plays with great athleticism and speed and effort, and I think a really good addition for us.
Coach, you had 6 players tonight put up double digits in scoring. What can you say about the depth of this roster, maybe even compared to last year?
Yeah, it was a challenge in year one, for sure, and then last year was a bit better, but it was such a young group, and then the injuries really make it difficult. While we probably don't have James Bishop scoring ability in the backcourt, we do have a number of different guys, and my hope is that, hey, we're a great defensive team. We have a really great player in Darren Buchanan, who's so unique and a problem for people, and then a lot of different guys who can contribute. I think that was tonight.
Coach, obviously Trey Autry stepped up offensively tonight. Christian Jones, who we didn't get to see last season, and Jacoy Hutchinson kind of came into his own tonight. Can you talk a little bit about those guys and how they've added to the team this season, but overall?
Yeah, they've been hardened by their experience. In Christian's case, it's the redshirting piece, but I think like Trey and Jacoy got thrown really into the fire in a way that some players say they want, but it's very difficult, right? The pressure is real. The coaching is real. The mistakes are not acceptable when you're in the fire. Whereas like in Christian's case, hey, you're a red shirt, like anything you do good in practice is like, wow, that's great. I'll be really good next year. Any mistake you make, you're sort of like, okay, we got to help them with that. Whereas the other guys, when they're playing, they make mistakes. We're all over them because it's just, you don't have that margin for error. So they've been hardened by a lot of those things. And what's nice to see is, I think in the first 2 games at least, you can see growth. You can see growth in a number of different areas, and that's why you're hard on them, right?
Okay. So like the first half is a bit of a struggle. Defensive rebounding wise, Hampton out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd have to watch them, to be honest. I would say we were not as tough as we needed to be on the glass. And then I also would say there were some funky shots. Sometimes those shots bounce weird, like it just. So I'm going to just have to watch, and I'm sure I'm going to have a great session on that with those guys on Sunday, but I'd have to watch first. But certainly I called the timeout. I really don't use the timeout if I don't have to in the first half. I called that with 8 minutes to say, hey, we need to come up with the ball here.
Good. I want to mention Sean Hansen. Quiet first couple games offensively, but really, especially in this game, I saw him as a really good.
He's a really good player. Yeah.
Especially on the elbow. I saw him use him a couple times.
Yeah.
As like a picker for Drumgoole to come around.
Yeah, we have a mode for, like he gives us a mode to play in offensively, off the elbow. And I actually would like to see us utilize his three-point shooting a little bit better. We're not, particularly my young guards just haven't played with popping big guys as much, right? So we got to do a better job. I was hoping we'd get to it a little bit late in the game when he was in there. But it gives you a different mode to play in than 4-man pick and rolls with June, which is obviously a very important thing for us and very hard for the opponent. And then some 5-man pick and rolls with a guy who's a great lob threat in Raphael. So then Sean gives you a different mode, which is a guy who can play off the elbow and pop. So in that sense, it gives you really 3 nice different options there in terms of playing through your front court, which is what we'll probably do more than maybe we have in the past,
More questions? Go
How would you describe the team's chemistry and what gives you confidence as a team?
Yeah.
Continue the season going into the following.
Well, I think we've got good people. Again, I've told people you can have a bad deal with good people, but you can never have a good deal with bad people. And so, like I think again have the guys we brought in. They're really good players, but they've assimilated well. And I think again, when you go through a little bit what we went through last year, you start to understand what's most important is that experience, of the chemistry, and those are the things that make this, special is when you can have that relationship and a bunch of people are going for it together, and nobody cares who gets the credit, all that stuff.
With this win tonight, you've now evened out your scoring record.
My record was pretty damn good about January 15th.
What have you learned as a coach from these past 2 years that you're now applying to your third year here?
Yeah, it's a good question. I thought I was very prepared to be a head coach. And then the world of college basketball, not the game, but the world changed. And some of the things that you knew and learned, they don't exist anymore. So you have to evolve on the fly. But winning and losing both remind you different things. And, for me, it's, doesn't matter, get better, right? Like if we're playing really great, when we were 14-3, and doing pretty well, I'm thinking about getting better. When we're losing like we did and had the injuries and things like that, I'm thinking about getting better. And I think I've probably learned to lead the guys with that in mind better than maybe I did, when I first got here. But also, like, you have a young group of guys, and I've learned how to probably lead a young group maybe a little bit more than I knew through adversity, because I haven't really been through anything like that. And so I'm better for it. I think they're better for it. Doesn't mean you're going to, change everything right away or things get better right away or anything like that. But I think there's some confidence that, like, yeah, I kind of know which way we got to push this thing. And then we got to do it in a very strange environment. An environment that's going to change again. And so we got to be nimble. I think that's one of the things we all have to learn in this thing right now.
Anything else?
One last question,
Yeah.
Coach. Bouncing off of that point on coaching, you've had some coaching staff reworking
Yeah.
in the off season. Some people moving up the ranks within the program, other people coming in from outside.
Yeah.
How has that really impacted the team this season so far?
Well, I'm a big believer in continuity. I was a part of a lot of staffs. Obviously, I was the guy that was there for 20 years, but there's a lot of guys that were with us for long periods, left, came back, and they're all good people. They're all really good coaches. And I felt like the consistency of staff, if you get the right people, is so important. Okay, now let's shift to this climate. The players are going to change all the time. As a head coach, if I have to train a whole new staff all the time and ingrain a bunch of players in a culture, that it's very, very difficult, right? And so for me, it's been, and the university too, they've helped me, keep the guys here as best we could, right? Some guys get different opportunities, better opportunities, or something that makes a little bit more sense for them at the time, or what have you, right? And we're happy for them. I've got a lot of pride that we've been here a short time. We got multiple guys in the NBA. We got guys, in the ACC. We got guys moving up, and that's good. But I also think the hardest part of it is picking the guys in the first place, because if you get the right guys, if you get the Matt Colpoys, if you get the Aaron Thompsons, if you get the Lamont Franklins, Dwayne Lees, now Sam Ebersol, now Eric Sebastian, who's actually, it's different because he's a little bit older, but he's so experienced, If you get those guys, two things are going to happen. You're going to get a hell of a coach. And somebody's probably going to leave because they're damn good. And you have enough in the bullpen to just keep going. It doesn't mean you wouldn't bring a new guy in. But staff continuity, as long as they're great, which they are, it really helps the players. So.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
You guys get new shoes?
Every year, what do you think? You get one pair of
Extra
shoes?
shiny.
It's not Division 3.